Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel where we discuss all things personal finance and budgeting. And in today's video I'm actually going to be touching on my recent layoff. I got laid off almost 2 weeks ago now, and I know that I've already made a video about this, but in this video I'm actually going to be going a bit deeper and giving you guys the details, when I got laid off, how I got laid off, some of the signs that I experienced before getting laid off, the process afterwards, and how I'm feeling now after the fact. Alright, so the first thing that I want to touch on are some of the signs that I experienced before getting laid off. I think some of these signs actually started even months prior to getting laid off, and I've always had this unsettling feeling for the past few months of am I next to go? Because one of the signs was that there were previous layoffs before me, and one of the biggest layoffs was my manager that actually hired me. She got laid off. This was quite a few months ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 months ago, and since then I've always felt a bit uncomfortable because there was always restructuring going on since she left. I didn't feel very secure anymore, so yeah, that was one of the first signs. I worked on quite a few projects and I felt great about them as well. However, because I didn't have my manager to report to anymore, or I didn't have my manager that was overseeing things, I was kind of just loosely managing myself, and I just had HR or someone check in here and there, but I didn't really have much structure anymore. Along with the restructuring, I was moved amongst teams, I think twice, 2 or 3 times, since my manager had left, which also led to my unsettling feeling of okay, they don't really know where to place me since she left, because it was just another sign that I was getting laid off was HR asking me questions about my role and the tasks that I do. I did receive an email a few months ago, I want to say 3 months ago, of HR, and also HR was relatively new to this company that I worked at. It was a pretty small company, not super small, but it was small. I knew everybody that worked there. You can contact the CEO, you can contact all of the managers, the UX designer, everybody. You had access to everyone if you needed to. So HR had asked me questions about my role about 3 months ago, question what are my tasks, what are my daily activities, and at the time when she asked that question, I didn't really take note that it was a sign at that time. But now looking back, I'm yeah, that was a sign, because they were trying to figure out what more they can add to my role to make my role worthwhile, but also I think it was them assessing if my role was still necessary within the company. At the time I definitely didn't realize it, but now looking back I'm yeah, that was definitely a sign that things were shifting and they were trying to figure out how useful I was, or how much they needed me, or whatever the case may be. But that was definitely another sign. And then the last sign that I noticed was them trying to cut costs. So because I was somewhat of a recent graduate, I graduated in 2019, so since I was a recent graduate, they were able to get part of my pay covered through some program. They were trying to get part of my pay covered through my university, which is something that new graduates were able to do. That was another sign that they were trying to cut costs, and they were trying to figure out where they can cut costs and how they can save money and where they can get money from. And one of those ways was by doing this subsidized program where they can pay me another way. And I think that I did get approved for this, and I got let go once that subsidy was finished, if that makes sense. They can no longer afford to pay me, and so they had to let. All right, so those are all the signs that I experienced personally. There could have been more, maybe those weren't actual true signs, but those are some of the things that kind of popped into my mind. Now I'm going to talk about the details of what actually happened the day of getting laid off, and what we discussed and how that went. So first of all, my HR manager, or someone from the HR team, HR is very, very small at this company. We actually recently hired HR maybe 7, 8, 9 months prior to me actually getting laid off. Prior to that, there was there was structure within the company, but the structure was unstructured, if that makes sense. So HR was coming in and she was restructuring things, and she was definitely bringing more order into the company, which was great overall. Unfortunately, that wasn't so great for me, but overall it's really great for the company. But yeah, she kind of scheduled a meeting with me with zero context, and this meeting was scheduled after our operations meeting. So we usually have an operations meeting every single Wednesday, and the meeting that she assigned to me was scheduled for the Thursday. So in my head, like the minute, and she sent me the meeting invite, I think on the Friday before or the Monday. And so I kept thinking, like, I kept feeling really unsettled about this and really nervous and anxious about it. And this is something that I even expressed to my boyfriend at the time and my mom, because I just felt so like I felt really, the only word I can think of is unsettled. Like I just felt like I couldn't really be chill about it, because I felt like I knew I was about to get laid off, but I was still being very hopeful and I didn't want to say it out loud. So I didn't, but I did express to my boyfriend and my mom that I felt like really nervous about this, and they tried to like reassure me like, oh, it's fine, it's cool. But in my heart and in my mind, like I knew like something was about to go down. So anyways, so she scheduled this meeting from the Friday, and then I usually have presentations on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we usually have our operations meeting, and then the meeting was scheduled for the Thursday. So there was quite a bit of time in between scheduling the meeting and actually attending the meeting. So that definitely led me to feel a lot more anxious than I really wanted to. But yeah, so that was the timeline leading up. So on the Wednesday I discussed all of my details, so that during the operations meeting everyone goes over the details of what they're working on for that week or what they previously worked on, some of the KPIs and whatever, right? The details of the meeting I guess doesn't matter. So after that meeting, I guess essentially she wanted me to, or the company wanted me to say what I had worked on and get all that stuff out on the table before actually letting me go, so that they know like where to pick up, like they know to pick off where I left off. So yeah, I kind of discussed everything in my Wednesday meeting, and then Thursday morning, which is another sure tell sign that I knew something was going down, was the meeting was scheduled at the time that I start work, which this is something that I'm actually glad that they did, because I would feel really betrayed, or even more betrayed, if the meeting was scheduled at the end of the day, because then they would have wasted my time for the entire day and then fired me. So yeah, the meeting was scheduled at the very start of the day, and yeah, the meeting was only 15 minutes, which was very short. We didn't even discuss anything we didn't even stay in the meeting for the full 15 minutes. I think I was in there for about like 7 minutes tops, because I was really shocked. I was shocked. I was sad, of course, but I didn't cry. I definitely felt like, because I'm a crier, like whenever I'm mad, sad, happy, whatever, like I'm a crier. So definitely as she was mentioning and saying all these stuff, I wanted to cry, but I held it back because I wanted to keep it together. I didn't want them to see any weaknesses or anything, so I kept it together. But I was definitely really emotional, and I didn't say very many words because I knew if I said too much I was going to cry on camera, and I really didn't want to do that. So the meeting lasted about 7 minutes. She just discussed that, you know, like the company is like restructuring. She discussed that it had nothing to do with my performance, and that I was a great asset to the company, but just right now, due to all of the restructuring, yeah, my role was kind of redundant. So yeah, that sucked. I definitely felt gutted. She discussed that I was going to receive severance. I was going to receive a severance package, which in my opinion, I feel like it was barely a severance package, because I only got paid out for a month. I had been working for the company for about 1.5 years. And yeah, I got paid out for 1 month. So we're currently still in July. So I received my entire severance pay for the month of July, and then starting August, I will no longer be getting paid. My benefits, I will still continue to get benefits for the next 6 months, so I have it for the rest of the year, which I'm happy about. I'm definitely a person that uses my massage, my chiropractor, my orthopedic. I use all of those things, so I'm definitely going to go and get my massages and stuff done. I go to the dentist at least twice a year. I actually recently went to the dentist because my retainer, I had braces and my retainer had fallen out, so I was able to go and get that fixed, and yeah, I was able to get covered. So I'm really grateful for that, because if you don't have insurance, yeah, the dentist can get really expensive out of pocket. So I'm really grateful for that. Besides that, the meeting was very short. She asked me if I had any questions. I expressed to her that I was shocked and I don't really know what to ask right now, and if I had any questions, I would definitely let her know afterwards. She expressed that, like, you know, she's able to give me a note if I, or sorry, not a note, she's able to give me a reference letter if I needed one, because I was great within the company. It has nothing to do with my performance. So if I need any letters for my future jobs, my future roles, they would, she would be open to doing that for me. That was pretty much it. I think that's all we discussed during the meeting. It was very short. Especially because I didn't have any questions. I had nothing to say, and if I did have questions, she actually already answered them before I could get to them. So if I did have questions, I would definitely ask about my benefits and my severance, but she kind of already answered that for me. And then she let me know that she would be sending me an email with my severance contract, and that I would need to sign it, and if I had any questions, I can reach out to her. And then yeah, that was the end of the meeting. And then right after the meeting, my access to all of my work stuff, so my Slack, my Google account, all of those things were cut off like immediately. I was kicked out like right away. So yeah, so it has been almost 2 weeks since I was let go. It'll be 2 weeks in 2 days. Since then, I've had the opportunity to think over things and review things and kind of see the opportunity behind this moment. When it happened, I was extremely distraught. I was so sad. Right after the call ended, I was full on waterworks, and I was shocked. I was full on waterworks. I was crying, and I had to get those emotions out because I really wanted to cry while I was on the call, but I couldn't. So I held it in, and then immediately after I closed my laptop, I was like full on waterworks. But since then, I've definitely been in a more relaxed state. I've been able to rest because for the past year and a half, I have been busting my butt working. And a lot of people, or like my close ones around me, have expressed that I've been like working my butt off because I had a lot of things to work for and a lot of things that I want to save for and work towards. So yeah, I was really busting my butt. Those of you that aren't new to my channel, then you would know that I was actually preparing to purchase a home in the next few weeks or months. And I was in the process of doing that. Of course, losing my job, I've actually put that to a stop. I've put that to a halt. So I'm no longer going to be purchasing a house right now. I will continue to do that in the future. But for right now, I'm not looking to purchase a house. I put that on pause. But the great part about this is that one, I hadn't actually committed to purchasing a house yet. I didn't sign any contracts. I didn't put in any offers. So I don't have that responsibility right now. I really am grateful that I didn't make that investment and then lose my job, because then I would be much more stressed right now versus losing my job and then not making that investment. I am really bummed out that I didn't get to move forward with that investment, because that was huge to me. But I am even more grateful that I'm not put in this situation where I was going to be stressed about how I'm going to make those mortgage payments every month. So that's something that I'm extremely grateful for. And then something else that I'm also extremely grateful for, which is the reason why I feel like I'm in such a comfortable position, is the fact that because I was purchasing a house, I was also saving for a down payment for that house. And because I'm no longer going to be purchasing a house right now, that down payment now serves as an emergency fund for me, and it kind of provides me with a cushion so that I can kind of recover during this job loss. That's not to say that I will be spending my entire my entire down payment for this house that I plan to buy in the future, but it is just saying that if I'm strapped for cash or if I'm struggling or something, I do have that emergency fund to fall back on. However, I do still plan to save towards my emergency fund, as I do have another source of income that I will be using in the meantime. So I don't plan to use my down payment money for my expenses and stuff. However, it has made me more comfortable in this job loss because I do have a good amount of money saved that will last me, if I wanted it to, it will last me to the end of this year. The biggest hurdle in losing my job, I would say, is one, adjusting to not having to work so hard right now. Two, adjusting my day from not being so chaotic as it was before. And then three, the adjustment from making as much as I was before versus how much I'm going to be making going forward in the month of August. So those were the biggest adjustments. I'm not losing my income completely. I also thank God for that. I'm not losing my entire income in losing my job, but I will be losing a good amount of it. But I am able to survive. I'm able to survive and some. So yeah, I'm in a great position. I do see opportunity on the other side of this. I am able to beef up my resume and start applying to better roles. So I'm extremely grateful for that. I will give my company credit. They have taught me to come out of my comfort zone. This was the first job where I had to do presentations. This is the first job where I had to participate in operations meetings. So all those things have made me more comfortable in the next role that I'm going to be taking on. I feel more confident about where I am in my career. I feel much more prepared for the next job. And yeah, it makes me really excited that I was able to beef up my resume, and I have that much more experience in professional roles. So yeah, that I'm extremely proud of and grateful for. This job forced me to do many things that I was totally uncomfortable with before. Prior to this job, I was not doing presentations. While I was in this role, I was doing 2 presentations a week for new clients, and then I was also attending operations meetings every week, which required me to talk about what I was going to be doing, talk about my projects, talk about my KPIs, talk about my future plans and some of the collaborations I was doing. So it definitely got me used to putting myself out there more often. So that I could never repay them back for. I'm really grateful for those opportunities and that experience and how I'm going to apply them to my next role. But yeah, that's pretty much all that I want to talk about. Those are all of the details of my job layoff. If you have any questions, you can feel free to put them in the comment section down below, and I'll definitely do my best to get back to you. But that will be all for this video, and I'll catch you guys in my next one. Bye.